Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Cameron Sinclair and today I want to talk about post-grad life. It has been almost 1 year since I graduated college, which is so hard for me to believe, and in this video I want to talk about everything that I have learned thus far during my transition from undergrad life to post-grad life. First off, I feel like it's very important to just discuss the transition itself. I truly believe not enough people discuss that awkward transitional phase from going from the education system to literally no longer seeing school again unless you, of course, go to grad school. Ever since your earliest memory, you probably have been in school from preschool to elementary to middle to high school. And then if you're watching this video, more than likely you've also gone through undergrad or you're currently an undergrad student. Ever since we were like the age of 5, we've constantly been like told, okay, you're getting ready for the next stage. You're getting ready for elementary. You're getting ready for middle school. You're prepping yourself to be ready for high school. And once you're in high school, literally your entire high school career, your entire high school journey is you prepping and getting ready for college. And to go from that mindset of knowing what's coming next to post-grad life, it can be very difficult because all of a sudden you don't really have a clear goal of what's next. Of course, unless you're going to grad school, then that's a little bit different from you. But after grad school, you're probably going to be in this same situation when you're like, okay, what is next on my agenda? What is next on my to-do list? What am I aiming for now? I graduated in May and I didn't start my full-time job in August. It's actually so funny because they offered me to start early in August. My original start date was in September and I just took the opportunity because I found myself so bored. And this is going to be like a continuous trend. I was just bored. I was like, I'm used to having a summer internship. I believe I got like a summer job for like 5 weeks. And I just found myself bored, like not really knowing like what to do next. And giving myself obviously that time to relax. I mean, I just made a huge accomplishment. I graduated college, so obviously I was giving myself that time to rest, to travel, to hang out with friends. But I was also already early on kind of battling like the whole thought process of, okay, what's next though? Like I already know where I'm gonna work full time. I already know what city I'm gonna move to, but like kind of what's next for me. I feel like the summer between graduating and starting your full-time is such an awkward phase of your life. You're figuring everything out, and then all of a sudden things start to speed up a little bit, and that for me was when I moved to a new city. And this is what I also want to discuss, like how to deal with moving to a new place, a new area, town, city, whatever the case may be. Some people, a new country. As somebody who went to school in state, I've never really left home. Shoot, I never really left my county. I'm a Prince George's County girl, born and raised, quite literally went to a university in my county. And to go from that to moving to New York City, that was a huge transition. I watched some of my older vlogs and it's so funny because I feel like in my vlogs where I'm like first moving to New York, you can literally see the fear in my eyes. I just didn't know how to adjust. I was scared, nervous, and I didn't really know what to expect. And especially a city like New York, I feel like everyone describes it as a sink or swim type of city. There's some truth to it, but overall I've come to learn that there's no amount of preparation that will prepare you for a city like that. My biggest advice when moving to a new city is that you truly just have to go through it and allow yourself to navigate the emotions. You can do all the preparation you possibly can, but nothing will prepare you for actually living through it. And of course, everyone's experience is very different, but my biggest advice is to literally just do not decompress those emotions, missing home, feeling nervous, feeling scared, feeling lost, all those feelings, definitely embrace it. Because the sooner you do that, the sooner you will get over things like homesickness, the sooner you'll be able to accept how you're feeling and then take on the new city head first. Of course, moving to a new city has its daunting moments. However, it is probably the best decision that you could ever make for yourself. And now I can truly say that, now that I've lived there for a little bit, it forces you to grow up. Oh my goodness. When you move to a new area and you're paying your own bills, you're forced to take care of yourself. You literally don't have anything automatically to fall back on. It really forces you to grow up. And I promise you in this past year, I have grown up so freaking much. And again, like moving away definitely helped that because I'm from Maryland, but I moved to New York City. And although it's a train ride away, and I had that in the back of my mind, it's not just a quick 30-minute drive away. So if anything crazy happens, it's not like I can just call my dad and like he's gonna hop on the highway and be there in 30 minutes. No, I have to figure it out myself. And that was probably the best forced self-development I've ever gone through. Sometimes staying in an area where you grew up can kind of pigeonhole you. You only really know your environment, your space. You've never experienced anything else but where you've grown up. And, you know, there's some pros and cons to that. But I will say there's something beautiful about challenging yourself to experience something new. And if it's not for you, do not be afraid to admit that. That's the other thing I'll say about moving to a new city. If you don't like it, you don't have to stay, but at least you tried. So once I moved to a new city, kind of started to figure that out. The same week I started my first big girl job. First of all, I will say do not do that, do not do that, do not do that. You should not be moving the same week that you start your full-time job. That was so... I was taking meetings and staring at a bunch of boxes in my living room. Like, that was way too much. I should have given myself at least a week, you know, in separation. But you know what? I did it. My biggest tip when it comes to navigating your first full-time job is to always protect your brand. One of the best career advices I have ever received was to always protect your brand and to not allow someone else create that narrative for you. What does this mean? Protecting your brand can also be known as like protecting your reputation. What is Cameron known for? What is her brand? What type of worker is she? What type of work does she do? How would I describe her as a marketer? Can I, because of her brand, can I trust her to join me on this project? One of the biggest ways that you can protect your brand is being careful about making friends at the workplace. I know some people choose to just not have friends at all. I mean, that's up to you completely. Everyone is different. That's not really the safest route, but you can meet some really cool people and you can honestly make a lot of great friendships. And I do think that if you like see people almost every single day, you're working alongside them, you're naturally going to start to build a relationship. But there are certain boundaries that you should have within friendships, and it is also important to recognize like who are your friends and who are just people you work with. That is very important. Not everyone in the workplace should be your friend. There are other like simple tips that I feel like everyone should already know, hopefully, but one of that is being never participate in company gossip whatsoever. I don't care if the person is not on your team. I don't care if that's your bestie for years. Do not participate in company gossip. I have witnessed it backfiring on people. I believe my business school did a really good job at teaching us the level of professionalism and the basic tips of navigating corporate America. However, they did not give us the advice of it is okay to make mistakes. And this is the biggest thing I want you guys to take away from this conversation at the company. Within your first year of working at the company, do not be afraid to ask all the questions possible. Any question that comes to mind, there are no dumb questions within your first year. Because trust me, once you get past that first year, now they're expecting you to be an expert. Or not an expert, but like you should know a lot more than you knew. Oh my goodness, my camera turned off because it was overheating, so now I have you guys in a corner, but hopefully this is not an awkward angle. Anyway, like I was saying, the moment I realized that no company is expecting you to be an expert in your role within your first year of working there, it's a moment that a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. And I feel like I became even better at my job. I was, instead of being anxious and always like wondering if I'm doing enough or if I'm doing well, I was able to truly just do my work. Now let's talk about the more fun stuff, relationships, and I mean platonic and romantic relationships. Navigating relationships in post-grad can be very difficult, especially friendships, because a lot of your friendships can kind of become long distance. You go from literally being on a campus where you guys lived probably less than a 10-minute walk from each other, seeing each other every single day, to now you have to literally find time in your busy schedule, and that is true adulting. Sometimes I don't see my friends literally more than once a month, and especially if we don't live in the same city, or I'm probably not seeing them but every 6 months. Also, you start to make new friends in your city, so it's like, oh, how do I keep maintaining my friendships from college while I'm making new friends in my new city? The best way you can do so is just checking in on people, literally just checking in, saying, hey, like, how's it going, how are you doing, just randomly calling people and having those like hour or two long conversations, catching everybody up. Like, those are some of my most fulfilling moments when I'm able to do like a quick debrief with my friends about like what's been happening with us for the last like 3 months. Let's say you're planning to go back to your hometown for either the holidays or you're just taking a random visit. As soon as you book that ticket, start booking with your friends some different activities or different days that you guys plan on seeing each other, because that's something else I learned. I might come home for like, let's say 4 or 5 days thinking I have all the time in the world, and literally by the fourth day I'm like, oh, I haven't seen the majority of people that I planned on seeing, because again, when you come home, time moves so fast, and not only do you want to see your friends, but you're also planning on seeing your family. So schedule ahead of time. Trust me, it will save your life. One of the ways I've been able to see my friends at least once a week is we take workout classes together. So we always know on this day we're taking boxing together. So I'm seeing you at least once a week. And usually we go grab food after that workout class. Now, it doesn't have to be exercise. It can be any class, art class, writing class, whatever the activity may be. Now, it doesn't really matter what the activity is. It can be working out, it can be art, it can be whatever you want it to be. Just make sure you have a reoccurring activity that you are doing with your friends at least once a week. That's a quick and easy way to always see your friends. I will say the older you get, the more effort you have to put into your friendships. And this is something I'm realizing at the early age of 23. Work can get crazy busy. You, again, like I said earlier, you might not see your friends more than once a month. But that just means you have to increase your effort of reaching out to them. You have to increase your effort of trying to schedule things on your guys' calendar, because it's only going to get worse. We've talked about platonic relationships, but what about romantic relationships? What does romantic relationships look like in post-grad? Girl, I can tell you it looks completely different than college, okay? I was just laughing with one of my friends the other day about how really, like, when parents used to say, oh, like, your high school first love, your high school relationships really did not mean nothing, baby, it really did not mean nothing. One, is a lot of fun because now y'all got money, right? So y'all have jobs. You guys can actually afford to go do fun things, whether it's like nice dinners, activities, whatever the case may be. One, dating, of course, becomes a lot more fun. You're not just going over to each other's dorm or apartment, maybe cooking food together, watching a movie. Like, no, like, dates actually elevate from there. I also think there's a different level of seriousness in post-grad that I did not fully fathom until I started doing it. Suddenly, your mindset of dating changes a little bit, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm dating with a little bit more of intention. You start getting more intentional about who you want to spend your time with, who you want to date, because guess what? There's a possibility for marriage. Like, now all of a sudden the thought of marriage starts coming into your head, and you're like, oh, I've been dating you for a year. Can I see a future with us? And if not, then perhaps we shouldn't be dating. Hopefully that makes sense. I highly recommend like dating all different types of people, going on a bunch of different dates, because you'll truly start to learn yourself. You'll start to learn your standards, your expectations. You'll start to learn your non-negotiables. It's so funny. My therapist once said that dating can be the best form of self-discovery. And that is honestly true. You truly learn yourself once you get into romantic relationships with other people. And I used to disagree with that. I used to think, oh no, I know myself. Like, I'm fully self-aware. And then I've gotten in relationships with people and I've been like, oh, actually, I didn't expect me to respond that way. Or I didn't expect me to not be okay with X, Y, and Z. And this leads me to my next point. During post-grad life, you will have a lot of free time compared to what you did in college. If you were anything like me, sometimes I worked 2 jobs. I was a leader in multiple different clubs and organizations and a full-time student. I had no time. I had no time, and I used to protect my time so much more than I did during post-grad life. Oh my goodness. You need to get some hobbies, okay? Because again, remember how I told you earlier, boredom is going to be a theme. Yeah, you will get bored quickly, all right? The moment that you have a strong friend group, you have some hobbies, is the moment that you will protect your peace so much more. I'm just going to speak from personal experience. I have filled up my time so freaking much. Oh my goodness, I'm in a grad chapter for my sorority. I work a full-time job. I'm doing 75 hard right now. I'm training for a half marathon. I have great friendships with people. I am so busy. It is going to take a very special person who knows themselves and who treats me well and meets all my standards to come into my life and for me to like want to make room for them in my life. And honestly, 6, 7 months ago, I could not say that sentence. Being busy will increase your standards because you don't have time for BS. And that's a quote. Lastly, with all of this being said, don't put too much pressure on your life. You know, early 20s is all about self-discovery. I feel like a perfect example is the show Sex and the City. And the older I get and the more I rewatch that show, the more I start to understand the life lessons that they're teaching you throughout those episodes. Those women were in their 30s and they were living their best freaking life, but they were also making mistakes. And if a show can show you women in their early 30s making mistakes, not figuring out life right away, not knowing themselves completely at the age of 30, why do you put that level of pressure on you at the age of, what, 22, 23? Stop it. Early 20s should be some of the most fun moments of your life. You're figuring yourself out. You're figuring out what you like to do for fun, who you are, what you want to do career-wise. Early 20s is also the first moment where you don't probably have a clear direction of what the next step is for you. Meaning, like I mentioned earlier, elementary school, you're prepping for middle school you're prepping for high school you're prepping for college, and now you're done with that and you don't have that structure anymore. Of course you do career-wise. You might say, oh, okay, look, I'm prepping for my next role and my, corporate job. Okay, whatever, yes. But what about your personal life, your personal self-growth? Like, you don't naturally just say, oh, okay, in the next year, I'm going to be here. 6 months after graduation, I definitely had a moment where I was like, dang, like, I really don't know what my life will look like in the next 5 years. But there was a moment where that became a sentence of fear to a sentence of excitement, and finding excitement and not really knowing what's next for me and what I will be doing at the age of 28. God willingly, we have so many years of life in us, right? I look at my grandparents who are in their 70s and I'm like, holy crap, that is 50 years away from my current age. That is 50 years of beautiful memories, mistakes, career changes. And that should excite you. That shouldn't make you fearful. That should literally excite you. The beauty of being young is that you have time. You literally have so much time to figure it out. And truth be told, none of us know. And I think there's comfort in that. No one I don't know a single person in their early 20s that can truly say, oh, I 100% know myself and I 100% know what I'm going to do in the next year or two. If they claim that they can say that, they're probably wrong. Let one little inconvenience happen to them and they'll probably have like a freak out moment. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm starting to like ramble on, but essentially what I'm trying to say is find excitement in the unknown. Find excitement in not knowing what you're going to do. Find excitement in all the possibilities. Because again, if you don't know what you're going to do in the next 5 years, that just opens up so much possibility. I hope this video was a little bit comforting and it made you feel like you weren't alone along this journey, because trust me, I've said it a million times, I'll say it a million times again, you are not alone during this confusing time frame. Enjoy it, because the sad part is you'll never be this young again. Like literally, we will never be 23, 22, 24 again, so we might as well enjoy the time. Enjoy your early 20s, please. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm going to start a little series. This series is going to be a post-grad diaries, and I talked about the things that I'm going to learn. Episode 2 is going to be things I wish I knew when I was a freshman in college, and that's going to be more of an advice video versus like a comforting video. It's going to be like how to navigate relationships in college, how to navigate this new sense of freedom, things I wish I did differently academically, and how to set yourself up for the best 4 years of your life. If you have any questions about freshman year of college, feel free to drop them down below and I will try to answer them for the next video. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching and getting this far. Okay, bye.